Welcome. Thanks for being here today. Today, I am going to share with you some steps that are a guaranteed way to get you to know your new tarot deck and to get working with it and reading with it right away. I have 10 steps that I'm going to share with you, and we're going to be looking at lots of decks. And the fun part of this is these are all new decks to me. Some of them I have opened. There's a couple that I'm going to actually crack open the cellophane today and then go through each of these steps with you. So I'm going to go to my list here and get the first deck in hand. So when I receive a new deck, this is the Voyager Tarot. This is not a new deck. It is very old. I'll just check in the little white book for you. And this is actually a really good thing to do, because sometimes you will see a deck that is new to you on YouTube or other places. It might be in a store. And I think this is good information to know when the deck was first published. So the second edition came out in 1998. So now I need to look back a little bit further. And I believe it was 1985 when the Voyager Tarot was first launched. So this deck has been around for ages and ages. And I have been humming and hawing about purchasing this deck. So this tool is absolutely invaluable. I always have a cutter on the table. Rarely do I use scissors because I find I get into the cello a little better, a little more easily with that. Welcome to those of you that are strolling in. We're going to have fun today looking at lots of new cards to me. So welcome to Mira and Dee and Donna. Welcome to both of you. So my first step is to actually say hello to the deck. And what I do is I have the deck in hand and I go through each of the cards. And it's funny, I tell you that the honest truth here is that this deck I purchased, I love the Fool card. It's so very, very sweet. So I go through, and really what I do is I say hello. I say welcome to the Magician. And as I'm going through this, we've got a bit of a shadow. Let's do it this way. As I go through, I may need to keep them in order. I am observing little nuances. So I'm looking at the type of number that's up on the top. I'm looking to see if there are any changes in the titles of the cards. And honestly, I sit there and I say, hello, welcome to you, beautiful Hierophant. The collage work in this deck is absolutely stunning. And so I say, hello, welcome to you, and welcome to you. Welcome to my tarot library. You are really going to have fun here. This is a great place to hang out and do readings and to work with clients, and welcome. And so one of the things I'm noticing here is that the borders on the major arcana are all green. And so I'm wondering if the borders for the minors have different colors. So that's one of the things that's going through my mind. I also am noticing that on the screen, it's very difficult to see a white font in the green border. So yeah, so this is step one. Say hello and welcome your deck. Take your time with this part of the process of going through every single card in the deck. And so I'm going to go through and welcome the rest of the majors. That's a stunning sun card. And I believe this is the first change, but I will catch that more clearly when I do step two. So instead of judgment, we have time and space, and the 21st card is universe. And I can tell that the borders are all green. So I go through and I welcome all 78 cards, including any of the extra cards that are there, and just notice changes, anything that comes to mind. It is, it's one of the, actually, it's one of the funnest parts of opening a new deck, is really taking your time with that. Now, my next step is to lay out the major arcana. And what I do usually is lay it out in the three septenaries. And one of the things, actually, I'm going to go this way. And let's take off my name so you can see that. So my name is Sadhana. If you're new to the channel, I'm an intuitive reader and healer. And so the Fool is going to go to the side, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and hoping these are going to fit on the screen. It looks like it. And so I'm going to lay out the 21 cards on my table and have a really good look at what is going on. There's a lot that can be revealed when you lay out the cards in the pattern of 777. Here is a name change. So balance is the 8th card. And so we have justice at 11. And so that's something that I want to notice off the bat right away as well too, because as I have grown, let's use that word, as I have grown as a reader, and art is the Temperance card, is known as art. I want to pay attention to the 8 and the 11, because if I am working with the minor arcana 8s in the deck and looking to build in associations with the major arcana, it's really important to know whether strength is 8 or strength is 11. Devils play instead of the devil, so there's quite a few name changes here. Tower. And I know you're not going to be able to see all of these. Star, moon, sun, time and space, and the universe. So during this step, there's a few things that I like to do. And one is to look at the columns and to look to see if there are, and this is a collage deck, so there may be pieces of the collage that are repeated in the cards that are in the columns. There may be colors, there may be single symbols that show up. So one of the things that's catching my eye right now is the beautiful crystal that's in the balance card. And I'm wondering where, this is actually another step, looking for other crystals in the card. So this, I also not only look at the columns, but I look across to see if what is unfolding in the journey across the major arcana. And probably another thing that's really important here is that I want to look at the 7, 14, and 21. These are really important cards in the tarot. And I have a look at how closely they're sticking to a traditional meaning, but these are cards of transition, endings, moving on to a next level and a next stage of life. So I have a really good look at those. And who knows what else is going to show up for you here. But this is also a really good way to take a second notice of any changes in the titles. And usually I place the Fool to the side because this is the Fool's journey, right? So the Fool is technically in all of these cards. And you know, this is a really fun deck, I'm sure. I don't know, but And I really don't know anything about the Voyager Tarot other than it's a real crying shame I haven't worked with it before. But this little fool may very well be hidden in some of the cards. I don't know that, but wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? So what happens next? So the next thing that I do is so the cards, when I'm welcoming the cards, I do my best to keep the cards in the order that I'm unpacking them. I believe that it is intentional. It's intentional the way that the cards are presented. And not every deck is going to be packed wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. So I want to just be mindful of that. That's something that I work with all the time. Hi, Audrey. Welcome. Lovely to have you here. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the Suit of Wands. And this is a new deck to me called the Tiger Tarot. And I'm going to lay out the Suit of Wands and have a good look at what is happening here. So when I lay out a suit, this is Ace, 2, 3, 4. And you know what I'm going to do? Well, there's a few different ways that I would do this. So for now, I'm going to go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I wasn't going to do this today, but I'm going to show you a few different ways that I do this and why I might do this. So one of the things I'm looking for, this is the Tiger Tarot by Lori Field. I'm looking for an energy from the suit. I'm looking to see how the symbol of the suit is represented and looking for predominant colors. I'm noticing that there are flowers, and I'm wondering if there is a particular flower that is associated with this suit. I also really love to see the correspondence between the ace and the 10. So as I look at the ace, there is a human face emerging from the body of a tiger, and then it's like the tiger is fully integrated. It's a whole tiger in the 10. So that's really interesting. I read with this deck spontaneously on Wednesday night in the Facebook group, and we just had a very profound and beautiful reading. So that's kind of an overview that I do. Now I am aware of lots of other correspondences with this, and I also want to look at the 2, 3, and the 4. So let's do this. 2, 3, 4. And one of the things I do is I may be looking for astrological correspondences, other associations that I have. The other thing too that is really fun to do is to look at the 369 to see if there is a story in the 369. There are so many sequences in the tarot. Some that have to do with numerology, others that have to do with astrology. And then, of course, there's various systems of all of that. And there's something really special. I always pay attention to the 3, 6, and a 9. It feels as if there is a tremendous amount of divinity in these triple numbers. They are, in a sense, cards of completions, mini completions. And I know some people think the Four of Wands is the completion card. The Four is the completion, but there's something here very special in these. So I do take my time when I'm looking at patterns within the suit. Okay. So that is it. Actually, I take quite a bit of time in looking at the suit as an exercise. Okay. Now, you have seen me do this many, many times. And it's interesting, isn't it? These I have, do I have another one? No. Okay, let's do a different deck. Okay. Hopefully this courier isn't for me. Okay. So what I do next is I lay out the deck by numbers. And in this one, I'm talking about minor arcana. This is a deck that people kept asking and asking or referring to. And so I decided that I was going to have the only way to have a really good look at a deck is to have it in hand. I mean, you can get an overall impression. Sorry, and there is a bit of a glare. Can't seem to win with the lighting. Sadhana's unprofessional videos. Okay. So what I do is I look at the minor arcana by number. And I want to see if there is a pattern, if there is, so this deck appears to be Rider-Waite-Smith based. I'm noticing that the aces are not presented in a hand. I'm noticing the energy that is around each of the aces, and also reviewing colors. I would have already looked at color patterns and things like that. So I lay out the deck in 4 piles, and I look at and contemplate the energy of the numbers. So knowing that these are 2s and knowing what I know about tarot, just look at how the 2 is represented. So there is a lot of gentleness in that 2 of Cups. Very interesting shift in the 2 of Wands with the movement in the card. Okay. And this is, I really take my time, and I am in the process of creating a journal to guide you through this. And I want to say it's 50% done, and I will be publishing this journal, and I'll let you know when it's available. So when I'm sitting with a number, I'm thinking about growth. How is growth displayed? I'm thinking about Pixie's art. I'm thinking about other decks if they remind me of any particular deck. I'm revisiting color and so forth. I'm contemplating the kind of readings I might do with this. I'm just, I take my time looking at, because this is really important for me, doing it this way. Now, I do this twice. And in the second round, so let's go to the 5. I will also have the corresponding major or majors in hand and add this to the mix. And so let's just move these over. For a number of reasons. One, are there color correspondences? Is there something that the deck creator has brought in? Because I think it's really interesting to look at the fives and to look at the fives through the lens of the Hierophant. And I love this part of the process. It's been an invaluable part of my growth as a tarot reader. I teach this in all of my courses, and I work in this way when I'm doing my own thing with decks. There are so many other things that I do that I'm not sharing with you here today because I want to keep this kind of simple. But this is so in the sixes are about beauty and peace and tranquility. There's a real gentleness to all of these cards. There's a reciprocity in the sixes. Donna, it's a very good question that you ask. So let's go to your question here. You are so conscious and intentional with your decks, but do you think most creators are? Donna, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to judge, um, but I think if these part of what I know about tarot is information that has come to me through the ether, if you will, and I want to give deck creators the benefit of the doubt that they know more than they share in little white books, perhaps. And also that when you are painting a picture and you are in that liminal space and working on the design of a deck, I believe artists are downloading. They're downloading, and some artists are very transparent about that this is a downloaded painting. But I think even if they're not sharing that with you, that there's something that's going to come through in the cards that feels like it's from another place. Yeah. Okay, so that's my number 4. Okay, number 5. This is, I think this is a really important part of the process. And let's see, do I have a deck? I have another deck that is very new to me. I've shared it with you twice already on 2 Wednesdays. And that is the Wee Moon Tarot. This is a curated art deck. And I haven't really done this yet, so I'm going to go through really quickly. And I think I know which ones I'm going to pick. So I go through, and obviously I have been through the deck many, many times because I have, I've been through several steps reviewing the deck already. And I probably will put all of those cards, the horizontal cards, together. And I haven't done this yet with this deck to choose my favorite and least favorite card. There's certain art styles that I like more than others. And so that's a really, I think that this probably is one of my least favorite cards, and it has to do with a depiction of, I love the keyword there's something about the art style. So this is a contender for least favorite. This is a very, I really like this card, very intriguing card. This is probably out in the contender for least favorite. This one too, not really crazy about. I'm not a big fan of photorealism, so I definitely wouldn't be picking that as a favorite. I really like the idea. I love that Pele is included here in the deck. So I'm going to go through. I really love this art style. And if you know me, I love watercolor art. Hi, Karen. Welcome. So this might be a contender for favorite. I really like this one. I've spoken about this one before. It's just gorgeous. So that's a favorite contender. I mean, I love both of those last artists. I love the colorful cards that are in a lot of the horizontal art. And so, of course, this may change over time, but I think this is a really important process. And I, of course, will come back to this question. But then I sit and journal and ask myself, what is it about this card that I resonate with so much? What is it that why is it my favorite card? And really interesting with the least favorite card is, what is it that I don't like? What is it uncomfortable? Is it the art? Is it possible that there are deeper messages in my least favorite cards that I need to spend time and work with? And so I will, it's really hard to pick. I'm going to pick this one, The Art of Love, Two of Fire. And I'm going to go with this one. So I'm going to go with favorite and least favorite. And then do some, it does, you're right, Dawn, it does look like the Tarot of Saint Croix. And this can be very, very revealing to journal about your favorite and your least favorite card. And in a curated deck, I think it's a big challenge, but it's a great exercise, really good exercise. Okay. All right. So this is the New Moon Tarot. Okay, next. Color. I heartily believe that color has a frequency. And regardless of the types of, regardless of the type of deck that you are working with, there are certain colors that you're going to be drawn to in the deck and certain colors that will be a little more uncomfortable, just like I was saying with, pick your favorite and your least favorite card. And for some decks, for collage decks especially, this is going to be a little more difficult to do. Okay, so let's, I'm going to do a little bit of an exercise here with this deck. So this is the Marlin, and I'm going to fan through these cards, and I am a fan of purple. I'm intrigued with the deep blue. So I'm just going to go through and see which color that I want to work with. I love this green as well too. All right. I'm going to pick purple. I'm going to pick purple. So I'm going to go through the deck and I'm going to get all the purple cards on the table. Now there's a few reasons for doing this. One, you can have, this is an opportunity to check and see if the color has a meaning, if there is an association, if the deck creator has a, you can get a pretty good idea about what purple means to the deck creator. There's purple. And not every deck creator is, you know, sometimes colors are random. And if you've been following me on my journey with the Thoth inspired deck, I mean, I have not been, it's not a Thoth series. It's a, sorry, Thoth inspired series. I believe it's linked in the description box below. We're not studying the Thoth, but we're using it as inspiration for conversation. And in the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, in the Golden Dawn tarot instructions, the colors are described, and the elements have certain colors. The worlds on the Tree of Life have certain colors. So there's something that is prescriptive, but certainly Crowley didn't exactly follow along with that, nor did Waite. And I know I've read lots of Waite Smith books where, and I'm thinking also of Robin Wood's extra book that goes with her deck. And she does a lot of, spends a lot of time discussing color and the energy of color. And so it's quite intentional with some creators and not so much with others. Okay, so purple. What am I picking up on purple here? And is there, and it's very hard for me to give you an answer on the fly, but in the Nine of Cups, the figure, the purple is on the outer rim. Is there a piece to purple? Is there a higher frequency to purple? And so I sit with the color and I just observe and I look and I make notes. I find it really interesting that the ribbons in the Eight of Swords are purple. They're not red. So that's really interesting to me. Yeah. Okay. The next one, and this is really fun. Pick a symbol. Pick a symbol. In the tarot, there are, now which deck am I going to use? I have more. I do have a couple other new ones. Yes. Okay. I have another new deck that I've only read with a couple of times, and that is the Keeper of the Sacred Bee. And I'm sorry, it is another collage deck for those of you that are. Okay. So I'm going to go through, and I think I'm going to choose the sunflower and go through and pick out all the sunflower cards. Wow, that's quite the devil card. That is interesting. Drake and this is not a sunflower. That's a different flower. I was going to say Drakenbachia, but that's not the right name. Okay. So in this exercise, it may be you are looking for all the cards with mountains. You are looking for all the cards with butterflies. You are looking for, I don't know, you pick a symbol. And maybe, it's the The thistles are actually those are clovers, right? This is very clever. You're going to pick all the cards that have all the cards that have clovers in them, and just sit and contemplate what that represents. And so I'm not going to go any further with that, but there may very well be a thread. There might be something that you don't notice until you put all of the sunflower cards on the table. Now, you're not going to want to pick a symbol like B with this deck, obviously, but the bees may be a symbol that you use in a different deck. So I really like to do this, and I have learned so much. If you're looking at the Rider-Waite-Smith, one of the great exercises. Yes, thank you. That's what I'm thinking, Donna. The flower. Yes, that's the one, Rebecca. I was thinking it had another syllable in there. That's me just trying to make it more difficult than it is, probably. So this is something that can begin to develop a deeper understanding and connection with your deck. Okay. All right. Number 8. This is a good one. This is a good one. Very difficult to do with collage decks. So let's go back to the Mara Loon. Facings. So facings are, I'm going to go through and not with the lever. I'm not going to use the lovers card because it's got 2 people in it. But I'm going to go through and choose all of the cards that are facing this way. And I'm just going to pick a few right now. I don't need to look at them upside down. And this goes back to Donna's earlier question. Do you think that this is intentional with a deck creator? And just looking at the cards that I am pulling out here, what are you picking up? And of course, I wouldn't have a complete answer until I picked out all the cards that were facing the opposite direction. And then also looking at the cards that are head on. Now there's 2 schools of thought. Hi, Ken, welcome. There's 2 schools of thought here with the tarot, and that is about the movement to the right and the movement to the left. And I'll try to share this in a nutshell for you. In a nutshell, we are in the English language, we read right to left, and so it makes sense that we read left to right, and there is a consensus that movement from left to right is a forward movement. The past is on the left, the future is on the right. But not all languages are written from left to right. And when I'm working with an older deck, a deck that feels more historical, or more closely associated with the theory, the underlying energy of the Golden Dawn, I will probably be laying out the cards. I'll probably be thinking about the direction from right to left as forward movement. And this is something that I never used to spend too much time thinking about. But Hebrew is written, of course, from right to left. And when you are reading the energy of the Tetragrammaton, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, when you're looking at Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles, there is this energy that goes from the right to the left. And it's really, really interesting to examine this in the order that the court cards are presented and many other things. So I think this is a really invaluable exercise to really get to know your deck. And so the purpose of today's discussion, while these are very basic sort of principles, is that yes, you can take a deck out of the box and shuffle it and start reading with it right away. But every single deck has its own energy. It has special nuances. And I think if we take time with, and these are only suggestions, I have many, many more suggestions and practices that you can do to awaken a new deck and to really get to know it so you honestly feel ready to read it. It's a wonderful thing to take your time to do that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to, now this deck is very stinky. It smells like toxic waste. It's horrible. And I don't like that smell. And I don't know why. I don't know why. It's the chemical process of coating the cards, probably. It's not nice. Yeah. Now, if a card, this is our next step, cleanse the deck. If a deck is really stinky like this, I'm not going to be reading with it until the smell goes away. And of course, my Palo Santo's not on the table. I'm not gonna, I've got a maze to get up through to get it. So what I will do in this case, if there actually is a chemical odor to the deck, and this also would be the case if I had bought a used deck and the seller wasn't transparent about that it came from a home where there are smokers, because I've had this before as well too. So I will, I use Palo Santo most frequently. I have lots of other smudge wands, lavender, rosemary, sage, and so forth. Oh, Donna, I don't remember about Playful Heart. Maybe. Yeah. So I smudge the deck with smoke. And sometimes I need to do that more than once. And before I even shuffle it and start using it, I'm going to put it outside. And of course, when it is good weather outside, and so it's going to be outside in the sun, but not in the direct heat of the sun in summer, right? You can't have a deck of cards sitting in the sun because they will warp and they will get damaged and so forth. But there's nothing better than putting your cards outside. So that is that's something that I will do. Yeah. Let's go to your comments. So Donna asked about Playful Heart, and I don't remember. Audrey, silly question. How long do you generally spend getting to know a new deck? Oh, well, it could be a back and forth process, right? So I may not do all of these exercises at once. Sometimes I feel like this deck just smells, it's just awful. Comes in a lovely tin box, by the way. Lovely tin box. And I don't know if there's a PDF online that comes with it. That's another thing that I haven't talked about is the little white books. So what I might do, I always welcome the cards. So I want them to feel welcome into my library. So I never skip that step. And then I go through and I always do the ones and the twos and the threes with and without the major arcana. I always do that. Um, I don't do all of these steps every single time. So it might be a day, it might be a few weeks. And depending on the complexity of the deck, it could be months. It could be months. And I might study the heck out of the deck before I ever start to read with it. Yeah. So it really depends on the deck. And I guess that's what you're saying down below here too, right? I guess it depends on whether you're connecting right away or having to really reflect. Exactly. So I do. I take my time in getting to know the deck. Now, as far as cleansing a deck, and if I want to work with the deck right away, and I do this a lot. I don't know if you see me, but I bang my decks. I bang the energy out of them, and that's feels very. It feels good. Feels good to bang the energy out of the deck. Another thing I do is I have a singing bowl over there, and I may put the deck in the singing bowl. And if a deck is in the bowl, you can't really get the frequency of the bowl going, but you can ring the bell. You can ring the bell. And sound is a beautiful transformer of energy. I also have several little bells. And this is something I learned from one of my yoga teachers about shifting the frequency. And so you can just ring your bell. So sound, you don't have to use smoke. Sound is a beautiful way to cleanse so cleansing is about shifting the frequency of the deck, raising the energy of the deck, removing the dense energy that is around the deck. And I want to say that this is more important. And like Audrey asked that other question. This is different with different decks. Some decks, I feel like they require a lot of cleansing. Yeah, and that outdoor experience is absolutely necessary. Yeah. What else do I do to cleanse my decks? Um, I have put, I have used rice. Like, sometimes if you get your phone wet, you can put your phone in a bowl of rice. I have used rice. I've used a few different things to try to get the smell out of a deck. And sometimes it takes quite a while. It's not a nice process. Yeah. But if it's not a matter of smell, then I think sunlight is so beautiful. I like sunlight more than moonlight because sunlight not only clears the deck, it's much like a crystal, right? So the sunlight clears the energy of the crystal, but it also charges the deck. It gives energy back to it. Usually, because where I live, the humidity is quite high, I don't put my decks out at night in the moonlight. It would have to be a very dry summer evening to put my deck out in the moonlight. Yeah. Second-hand decks. So I would say step one with a second-hand deck is to reorder it and put it into the order that it came. So that also means referring to the little white book because the deck may not be ordered Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles. You need to look at the guidebook and see what the intention of the creator was. And so I put the deck back in order, and then I will clear it and smudge it and put it in the sun and all of that. Yeah. Lorenzo, for those of you, you said Lorenzo is a parrot. Audrey is in my Tarot Foundations class right now, and it's so wonderful because when we're on Zoom, Lorenzo is in all of the classes, sitting on Audrey's right shoulder. And yeah, so Lorenzo is Lorenzo is learning the tarot as well too. Yeah. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to share with you today is shuffle. I absolutely love to shuffle. You know that about me, right? Where am I going to put this candle? I've got too many things on the table. And shuffling tells you a lot about a deck. Want to see another new deck? I'm going to show you another one. New to me. It's not new. Okay. This deck, and this is going to be really fun. I am recreating my tarot through the chakras courses, and I'm going to be doing a pre-recorded workshop for each of the chakras, and each workshop is going to include the content from Tarot Through the Chakras 1 and Tarot Through the Chakras 2. So I'm going to do that. So this is one deck that I'm going to use with it. Isn't this fun? It looks like a paint palette. And this particular deck is called, do I have the extra card here? The Narrative Alchemy Tarot. There it is. This is the Narrative Alchemy Tarot by Chrissy Bentley. And I believe I saw this on Meg's channel, Honey Rose Ritual. And I really was intrigued. And I have gone through it and looked at the words and the chakra associations. And I have looked at the correspondence that Chrissy has chosen, because there's a tarot correspondence on each of the cards. And it doesn't all align with how I work with the chakras, but there's lots of goodness in this deck. So this is one that I will be working with. So yeah. Okay, so shuffling is a really important part for me of welcoming a new deck. And if a deck will riffle shuffle, then I will I'll riffle shuffle it for hours. I will sit, if I'm watching YouTube or watching a video, I will just shuffle cards. And I love shuffling. I've been shuffling since I was a wee one, and it's really so. But however, not every tarot deck. I'm gonna have to reorder this one because I haven't even been through this one yet. Not every tarot deck riffle shuffles. So I'm very careful to observe the paper. So this one is fine. It's gonna riffle shuffle beautifully. No problemo. No problem. And when I have medium size hands, medium to large size hands. And this is a big stretch for me, this one here. And I'm going to demonstrate. This one is stiffer. This one's a lot stiffer. So that one's okay. I can riffle shuffle that. But I want to comment on decks that have metallic edging. It is really important that you don't cut yourself. And if you are riffle shuffling metallic edges, and this has happened, I have signed off on a Tuesday or a day that I've been doing lots and lots of readings, and I actually have cuts, little, I'm not bleeding or anything, but I have little cuts on my fingers. So these decks with metallic edges, you probably want to overhand shuffle. I have no problem with the edging wearing. I want the edging to wear. So this is another part. I think breaking in a deck it's an important part of the process. You can't shuffle your deck enough. And different decks are harder to shuffle than others. This is my soul tarot, the tarot that I made from Soul Cards 1 and Soul Cards 2. This is another very large deck. And one of the things I wanted to say was I can do it, but again, it's hurting my fingers. I don't think that I'm going to damage the cardstock, but this is really, really important. So if you have a cardstock that is cardboardy, it's really important you do not riffle shuffle. I have bent and damaged cards that are really, really cardboardy, unfortunately, and it's not good. It's not good. Because then you have ruined cards. Okay. All right. So just to summarize, I want to go through the 10 steps again that I've shared with you today. So welcome your deck. Say hello to each and every card. It wants to get to know you, and it's so worth your while to greet them, right? Lay out the majors. Now, I shared with you 777. There's lots of other ways you can lay out the majors. You can lay them in a row of 11 and then loop around back. You can also lay them out 11 and then go back to the beginning and lay out 11. There's different layouts for the major arcana that are going to reveal different secrets of the tarot. So take your time with that as well too. I can feel the metallic on my hands. The suits. Lay out the suits in a few different configurations because this is really going to help with your reading and understanding of the nuances of each of the suits. And you might do this, you might focus on one suit a month and just really spend some time working with one suit and go ahead and read with the deck, but then you're going to come back and look at details of a particular suit. Okay. Hello, Antoinette. Number 4. This for me is probably the most important thing, and that's to turn over the cards and look at them across numbers. And you will get a pretty good idea right away if there is intention from the creator and they've brought in numerological correspondences. And then of course you can add the corresponding majors. And this means as well too, when you are looking at the number 9, for example, you're going to have the Hermit on the table. And depending what your school of thought is, so this is really interesting. So number 9, so you have the 4 major 9s on the table. I missed one. I missed a really important one. Maybe I'm going to have to do a part 2. I'm not going to skip it because there's something really important I haven't done today. I can't believe I missed it. Okay. So when you're doing number 9, you may have 19, the sun. So you might be of that school where the second number, now this is Tarot de Marseille does it this way. So the correspondence is with the second number. If you're more of a numerological sort, then you're going to do it by reduction, and you're going to look at the moon in relation to the Hermit and the 9s. Okay, so that's also very important. Okay, Audrey says yay for part 2. Maybe I will do part 2 because I'm already going to be past the hour. Okay, so numbers. This is going to tell you a lot about the way that you work with the deck. And I feel like taking time to journal with this is going to create a relationship with the deck. Okay. It will really, really help. You're welcome, Dee. And I'm thinking right now, I'm thinking about another thing that is so super important that I haven't done. So I will do a part 2. Okay. And I will change this title to part 1. Number 6, this is fun. This is fun. So pick out an array of colors and look at cards that share a color and see if you can find some information in those colors. Okay. Number 7, and you could do this over several days. So maybe one day you're going to look at all the rose cards, all the cards with roses. If you have a deck that has a lot of different flowers in it, maybe there's an array of peonies, and so you're going to look at all the peony cards. Perhaps I think mountains are really important symbols. That's one that I always do, but there might be something that is very particular to your deck. So pick a symbol and pull out all the cards with that symbol and see if there's something that you can learn from that. Okay. You can do this, of course, as well too with the Rider-Waite-Smith, because in the Rider-Waite-Smith, there's also so much hidden stuff in there, and it's really fun to discover. Like I'm thinking of the path in the Temperance card that leads to Keter, like things like that. It's really great. Okay, number 8. This is a good one. Okay, so this is going to help you to understand the direction, the feel of direction in your deck. So to pick out all the forward-facing cards, have a look. Pick out all the left-facing cards and have a look. Pick out all the forward-facing cards and see what you feel about that. And the cards, of course, that face towards the table. Okay. Do cleanse your deck. I think this is important. There is energy from the people that packed your deck, the factory, the postal workers. You know, it's an important step. Okay, and shuffle, 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 shuffle as much as you can, and until your hands hurt, and then stop shuffling and take care of your hands. I've also seen people who have sandpapered off the gilding. People do that. It's really quite something. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for today. That's the first 10. And perhaps I will add a second 10 in a few weeks' time. And I want to thank you all so much for being here. I also want to acknowledge some of these lovely comments that here at the end. You are very welcome, Donna. Yes, so this is another one that I missed. Is reading the guidebook come into this process. So Mira, I will include that in part 2 and some comments about the little white book. Okay. Hello, Sunny Tarot. You're welcome, Audrey. Yes, yes, I have seen people sandpaper off the metallic edges. And so then you have bear card, because some people just don't like them. They don't like the feel of the cards. Not usually. Not usually. I have such a nice space here, and often I will put I'll put so when I was talking about the cleansing process, I'll share one more thing with you in this step. One of my favorite things to do is to create a crystal grid around the deck. So I will put the deck on my altar, and I'll create a crystal grid around it, and I leave it on my altar. I don't tend to put decks underneath my pillow. Yeah, I don't do that. Hi, Pamela. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. All right. Have a lovely, lovely weekend, everyone. And I will see you in 2 weeks. I will not be here next Friday. I'm going to be going away for that weekend. It is a long weekend in Canada, and so I'll see you in 2 Fridays from now. But most of you, I'll see you on Tuesday. Okay. Take good care of yourselves and have a lovely weekend. Bye.